So did crochet peak in 2020?
God, I hope not. What am I supposed to do with all this yarn?
Honestly, this wasn't even something that was on my mind until recently. I was being all social, talking to people via Zoom, and the topic of hobbies came up. And I said I crochet, to which one woman responded with, "Oh wow, people still do that? I thought that was just a pandemic hobby."
Huh?
I wasn't even sure how to respond to that. I mean, sure, my feed is constantly filled with craft related hobbies, so crochet, knitting, embroidery, sewing. But I have to take a step back and realize my algorithm is obviously catered to me, so it's going to be feeding me that type of content. Oh, and also, I didn't even start crocheting during the pandemic. I started 2 years ago. But that is anecdotal evidence. So I did what any sane woman would do in this situation, and I went to Google. And the results were surprising. So in my Googling, I found this article. It was one of the most recent and interesting ones I found. Say bye to doom scrolling. Experts say these grandma hobbies and crafts are trending. Which immediately, great title, no notes. Interest in grandma hobbies, or more commonly known on TikTok as analog activities, has only risen in the past few months. Activities that draw us away from the doom scroll and instead have us crafting, reading, and solving puzzles are increasing in popularity. Okay, first, what's an analog hobby? I have never heard that term. Am I just old or out of the loop? Oh no, it's both. So this took me down a side quest which you now have the pleasure of hearing about. So if you're a millennial like me, you probably remember the 90s. You know, that awesome time when you can't call your best friend because your dad's on the computer.
Hey, Mom, can I use the phone to call Rachel?
Sorry, honey, your father's using the computer.
Well, how long is he gonna be?
Until he's done, honey.
Oh my god!
Sorry if my headphones took you out of the immersive experience that was that skit. I was listening to the Spice Girls trying to get into that 90s headspace. I'll be completely honest, I thought this term was just going to be another way for millennials to have some nostalgia. This Guardian article talks about how younger generations are picking up old school hobbies as a way to combat digital burnout. This article from Ola USA is basically stating the same thing, that Gen Z and millennials want to get away from the little black box that's grabbing their attention constantly. So the term analog is then just referring to any hobby that doesn't have a digital base. So if you draw on your iPad, I don't know what that means then for you.
Quick pause. Besides expanding my vocabulary, this side quest was very useful because I got to see the sheer number of articles related to this topic, and in a large majority of these, there was at least one mention of crochet. So this bodes well, right? Well, let's find out.
When searching through Google Trends, the term analog hobbies has risen 160% over the past 30 days alone. Okay, well, that's insane. One thing I just want to point out is this article was published on January 10th, which means if your New Year's resolution was to spend less time on your phone, you would most likely search the term analog hobbies. Okay, this is the most interesting part of the article. According to Dana Slom Johnson, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Etsy trend expert and the team at Etsy, needlepoint and crochet rank high, with searches for beginner needlepoint items up 208% year over year, and searches for crochet sweaters up 162% year over year. That's insane. And I really want to drive home how insane those numbers are. Companies celebrate successful years if they're up 10 to 20%, and 50% is considered insane growth. A 200% jump isn't normal growth. That's an entire cultural shift and change. So I'm just going to pause the article there because it becomes far more about doggo needlepoint and this certain store in Connecticut, but I will link it down below if you want to finish it. Welcome to my little crochet corner. Since I'm not reading the article anymore, I thought I would just bring you over here so I could crochet. And if you're curious, I'm crocheting a toque for my friend because her birthday's coming up. So in my very brief Googling, I also did come across this bar graph that showcased popular craft hashtags from 2023 to 2024. It also showed their growth during that year, and crochet grew by 50%, resulting in a total number of crochet-related videos on the platform being 6.9.
So this got me thinking, how many videos are on TikTok now under hashtag crochet? So 2 days ago when I filmed this, it was 11.5. And when I went back, it now said 11.6. 100,000 videos added in 2 days? Yeah, sure, crochet's declining.
So if I quickly do the math, 4.6 million videos were uploaded in 2025. Where do people find the time? So let's discuss business, and first, we'll talk about money. Sorry, I had to take off the jacket. It was too uncomfortable and then I got cold. So, blanket. Now, where was I? This is what I consider to be the most convincing part of this entire video / argument. And that's because while trends are subjective, sales numbers are not. People can say a hobby is dead over and over again, but if people are still spending money on it, then it's not dead. That somewhat explains why my bank account's so empty. Oh well. So globally, in 2024, the arts and crafts market had a value of $22 billion. That's a lot of money. Those incredibly high numbers not only showcase that obviously there is a market for it, but people are still consuming. If crochet truly had peaked in 2020 and was on a downward decline, we would see fewer beginner kits, less subcategories from online realtors, and of course, less sales numbers. But we're seeing the opposite. So when you go to Amazon's arts and crafts section, you can see this entire subcategory of crafts, which is what you would expect to see. But there's also categories with the term beginner stuck right to them. So for this to exist, it means there are still new people entering this hobby. Oh, I almost forgot. Amazon's arts and crafts category generated $9.3 billion in 2024. Can we plan a heist? So after looking at all of this, it's pretty clear that crochet did not peak in 2020. Crochet, of course, had a very loud moment during the pandemic, but that's easily explained because everyone was at home, they couldn't do their regular outdoor hobbies, they needed something else to occupy their time. And of course, the algorithm knew this. And with analog hobbies being searched more, it's actually allowing people to unplug and be more mindful, creative, and happier. This is absolutely not a fad, it's a response to digital burnout. So in conclusion, no, crochet was not a pandemic hobby. It was an introduction, and with its gaining popularity, it's definitely here to stay. So as always, I'd love to hear from you guys. Did you start crocheting during the pandemic? Or were you late to the game like I was? In my defense, I did have a puppy at the time, and she was just monopolizing all of my time. And yes, she is here. One sec. Thanks for hanging out. And if you liked this video, consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one. Bye.